Welcome back, everyone. Another great edition here. Today we're talking about immigration, mass immigration of people into your country, or a country, or Europe, America, and Australia. So, this is a question, whether it happens or not, is a question of identity. It's a question of whether or not the people have a clear sense of who they are and what they're not, what they are and what they're not. So for Poland, as an example, they are Catholic and they are ethnically Polish. And anyone that is not Catholic or ethnically Polish is not a true Pole. The Ukrainian refugees that they took in were seen as people that could become Polish. So therefore they can control their immigration. Japan has a very strong sense of who is Japanese and who is not Japanese. So because they have that strong sense of identity, they're not going to let in mass immigration. And for a country like Sweden is a case of, and America are like the two recent cases of countries that did have mass immigration and are now winding it back because they're developing a sense of who they are and who they are not. So the Swedes are getting to a point where they're saying some of these people we let in are not Swedish and will not become Swedish. So we are going to stop it because Sweden is for the Swedes. And America is the same thing, where it's not so much an ethnic thing with America though, but it's a set of beliefs and values, and also loyalty to what's going to become loyalty to Trump, who is like the quintessential American. If you are pro-Trump, then you can be American, so you will be allowed to come into the country. Trump, Elon Musk, Vance, and a lot of the Republicans are not like white nationalists, so they will say yes, these people can come in because they can become Americans, if they do it legally. But it also, then there's a line drawn. They've drawn the line. Anyone who didn't come in that way, anyone who doesn't think that way, will be deported because they are not Americans. And that is, even though it's not an ethnic sense of who they are, it's still a sense of who they are and who they are not. And there's a line drawn. Problem with a lot of countries like Australia, Canada, even Italy, Germany, and France is there is no line drawn. Multiculturalism is the abolishing of a line of who is native and who is not. It is the abolishing of the line of what it is to be Australian. Anyone can become Australian. Anyone can become German. Anyone can become French. So, therefore, mass immigration, because it's good in the short term economically. And until the economic system snaps, or until these countries like Germany, France, and Australia decide what it is to be Australian, or what it is to be French, or what it is to be German, and until that line is drawn, there will continue to be mass immigration. Once the question of identity is answered, then a line can be drawn, and then mass immigration can be slowed down, and even deportations can happen. Or if the economic system breaks, then there are going to be answers to those. Everyone's going to be asking those questions, and there's going to be answers to those questions sooner. So it's not necessary for the economic system to break, but if the question is just sort of put off and it's not asked and it's not answered, then it will take an economic downturn for mass immigration to slow down, which I think will be the case in Australia. I don't think we'll come up with a sense of, Australia for the Aussies, Aussie. I don't think that's going to be a thing. I think it's going to have to take, housing to go to the moon and for it to become extremely unaffordable for people before any of these questions are asked or answered. So It's about identity. There are ways to speed up answering that question of identity, but ultimately, mass immigration can only stop once a country kind of decides who they are and who they're not, and once a line is drawn. All right, I hope that made sense.